All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me are the people that are here. I'm running out of pithy things to say. So, they're here, we're here, we pretend to have fun every so often. Vala is apparently in 10 forward, I think.
uh Crew quarters
Crew quarters,
on.
gotcha. By the way, 10 forward is named 10 forward because it's on the 10th deck of the Enterprise in the forwardmost section of that deck. That's why it's called 10 forward. It has nothing to do with the corner of 10th Street and Forward Street or anything like that. It was really dumb.
See, you're thinking about time all like linearly as point A leading as cause leading to effect, when really it's much more wibbly wobbly plot contrivance.
No, it's called bad writing. That second season had so much promise and they murdered it. And then the third season was pretty good, to be perfectly honest. There was some shit that went on in that season, but overall, it was a good season. If they had just made it a TNG reunion the entire time, I would have been happy.
A
It was
lot's happened
good.
in the last 25 years.
It was just like everybody played their characters super well, and they end it with a poker game, which was amazing. I also just watched, I binged the entire Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. Oh. It was a Picard season 3 thing. Overall, it was good. But there was some massively stupid things those writers did. Also, it was on Netflix, not Disney Channel, and it annoyed the hell out of me that there's a couple on the show. It's a lesbian couple, and it was this huge thing. It's the first LGBTQ Power Ranger, and it's a huge thing. They spend the entire 10 episodes hugging and kissing each other on the cheek. You're on Netflix. You can kiss each other on the lips. I don't see why that was that big a deal. They tell each other they love each other, like they're a great couple and they're great together. Just let them kiss. They've kissed at other Power Rangers. The worst thing that happened at Power Rangers was for Time Force. Jen and Wes at the very end, they're probably never going to see each other, and Jen goes up to him and goes, "I love you." And he goes, "I love you." And they hug. And the entire fan base goes, "Let them kiss. Tommy kissed Kimberly. Why can't they kiss? They're never going to see each other again." Sorry. I have strong feelings about the Power Rangers. I've talked to my therapist about it. She's worried. Anyway, Cosmic Fury is actually pretty good, and I liked it. It was a nice kind of ending to Power Rangers as we know it, because they're rebooting it for the
I
next.
love that we went off. You went off on a tirade on TNG, and you still ended up on Power Rangers.
I can make Power Rangers out of everything. I have an entire shelf. You guys can't see it. I have an entire shelf of Power Rangers. Watch my YouTube videos. There's Power Rangers on them everywhere.
You can start off about World War One, Archduke Ferdinand, and you're still going to go into Power Rangers.
I don't get to say this a lot because you guys can't see it, but all of my players can see it. This is made by my buddy DK. It is a fireball bottle. And what it is I pop it up, and it has 8d6 fireball dice. It is the coolest thing ever, and you can buy them from him. He has an Etsy shop by 3D I think it's called 3D by DK. It's 3DX DK. Because like 2x4, and they put the X for the by. I thought it was weird too, but DK was sold on it, so I let him keep the name. How do I put this back? There we go. Anyway, it's a really cool thing, and everybody should get one. For the life of me, I can't remember what he sells them for, but they're cool. Also, I will hopefully have a video going up tomorrow because I have been ignoring my YouTube channel because my brain hurts. But New video on my YouTube channel, hopefully tomorrow. Any other announcement stuff going on? The new Deck of Many Things book came. The early access period started the end of October. I had to wait for my disability check to come in before I could afford to get it, but I've done the physical digital bundle, and I've looked through the book, and it's a cool book. I like it. I haven't read through the whole thing. I'm waiting to get my actual physical Deck of Many Things before I read through the whole thing, but I'm excited.
Apparently there's a print mishap.
Yeah, they said there was a quality issue, which I'm going to assume. I bet you it was the cards. I bet you the
heard
cards
it was an
just
issue
weren't.
with the foil.
Yeah, I bet because cards are not something that they print a lot of. So, but we'll see. I'm excited about it. I've shown this many times, but I'll show it again because I'm still proud of it. This is my Deck of Many Things. I have had it for over a decade, or almost a decade now. And I love it. It's a great deck. You can see it's got the stuff on it. Like, it's cool.
Could be more cards now.
Yeah, they almost doubled it, I think. Because the original deck was only 22.
Someone who has a history with the Deck of Many Things. I could not give a shit.
I like
your
Deck
fun
of
is
Many
your
Things.
fun. If you're out there, enjoy it.
There's an adventure. It looks like this, called the Madness at Gardmore Abbey, and it involves a Deck of Many Things, and it is probably one of the greatest D&D adventures that have ever been written. One day, it's a 4th edition game. One day I will update it to 5th edition and run it for people, because it's just too hard to get people to run 4th edition. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all that's going on right now. I don't think anything else. Oh, there's a new D&D cookbook coming out, or did come out. I don't know. I want it.
I think it's a couple more days out.
It looks cool. You can cook D&D food, and they're apparently they just announced a D&D cooking show, which is right up my alley. So we'll see. We were discussing it before we went live. So that looks cool. Yeah, and then I think I've said it before. Month of December, I do a thing called Day of December. Last year, I started doing like a mini campaign for the month of December. I'm going to do the same thing this year. We're playing Fabula Ultima. It's a really cool JRPG inspired tabletop RPG. And I'm super excited. You guys will most definitely see a few familiar faces, and hopefully, I'm still holding out hope beyond hope, a few faces that you guys haven't seen on the channel before. So, yeah, maybe I need to just start, like, guilt-tripping other ZU people that haven't shown up on Realms yet, and just go, you know what? You haven't come on my Realms game. You should probably come on my Daily December campaign. Like, you owe me that. This is how I get people to do things. It is entirely guilt-based. These guys are all here because I guilted them into it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Except for Imp. Imp just saves my ass constantly.
It was mutual. You did me a favor. I'm doing you a favor. It was agreed upon.
For my, what was it? Not this past year, but the year before, I had a segment on the ZU-thon, which is their annual charity event. And like a week before, like 2 weeks before we're supposed to happen, I get told by one of the organizers, "Oh, by the way, who's going to be your co-host?" And I said, "What? I'm playing a randomizer. I don't need a co-host." Like, "No, you have to have a co-host." "Okay, let me go find one." And I just couldn't. I'm like, yeah. Would you please co-host
By the
with
way,
me?
I was proof you don't need a co-host.
It worked well. I thought we bantered off each other really well. We built some D&D characters. It was fun. So anyway, you guys want to play some D&D? My brain is so scattered right now. You guys are going to be walking through a forest and find polka dots or something. I don't know. I think it's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has discovered even more about the strange, unliving corpses that sprang to life. After Liliane decided to use her ability to see into the evil past of local items or areas, they discovered the Dark Lord had visited Middenwell, along with a strange, cloaked figure with a large scythe. After having a discussion with this strange figure, the figure proceeded to impale the ground in front of them with their scythe and infused the very ground itself with something. Now, the party must decide what to do with this information and whether to continue on the journey they had planned or to stay and fully unravel the mystery of Middenwell. So I believe the last time we played,
Intending to check out a noble's house.
is that what you guys are gonna do? It's been a hot minute, folks. I've been sick a little bit and I've had to cancel a few times.
That's the last thing I had written down.
So to go right before that decision, just to get everyone, including myself, back online, you guys took out these strange undead revenant creature things, and then Liliane did his her grim psychometry thing, and then you guys talked about it for a little while, and
Rowan did a history check about the metaphor about the Dark Lord.
yeah,
It was said being so powerful that death itself acquiesced to his demands.
Yeah. now I'm starting to remember. And then you guys just decided that you wanted to keep searching the nobility. Is that what it was?
Intending to check out the group. Rowan would know. It's like there was some noble's house that they were wanting to check out.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. We're basically just going to the house next door, see if
Okay.
anyone's home, if they're gonna answer, blah blah blah.
Sure. Yeah. Trick or treat. So yeah, after you guys kind of all gather yourselves, and were you going to try to kind of rebury the bodies, or just even like tidy up the graves, or just kind of leave it the way they were?
See, on the one hand, Rowan's like, well, because we established they're constructs. They're shelled-grown bodies that were animated by weird pink goo. But they definitely look like corpses, and I don't know if this. We're also like Rowan's not sure if they're going to decompose because their innards solidified in this like some kind of weird cement base. So he's like, I don't know if he wants like because it's what was it, like a dozen or so?
Yeah, I mean, reburying them would be like a day. Like that would be your work for the day.
I can just move her.
Oh wait, yeah, never mind. You guys don't have to dig holes.
Because that's what Argenta did first, like to do one to like expect, because Roman had like how are we going to do this, and then one came up and all of a sudden a bunch of them went ah, and they all came up out of the ground. They were all buried face down.
Do we want to put them back in the earth?
That is the other question. I mean, I don't know if it'll like regenerate them or not.
I don't know
If they're like batteries.
Well, it's the like Rowan's pointing at the things like this looks pretty solid now.
Vala just makes a small hand motion and flames appear in her hand. Respectfully, we could cremate them and then spread their ashes.
Oh, at this point, I know no one really looking will care. On one hand, most people are generally apathetic right now. But this is also like just the appearance of these random corpse-like shells strewn about is pretty much where I'm concerned.
But we should be tidy and respectful.
I mean, if you can burn whatever these things are, they were never alive. I've established that they were never actual.
Wouldn't they?
Even I mean, I know there are things like constructs that could possibly also be sentient. These things didn't even seem. These things didn't have brains.
I know there is such a thing as a golem made of flesh, a construct made from the bodies of the dead.
The to give you guys a little more information, the vision that Liliane saw was this was a normal graveyard with relatively fresh graves when it happened. So the bodies that you guys saw at one point were people. Whether you guys wanted to find them as people now is entirely up to you.
Well, because we remember their ribs and stuff were grown. They weren't like actual bone. Like I don't know, so maybe if they were transmogrified or anything.
Yeah, I will say they were people at one point.
Okay.
So I think out of respect, we should not just leave them here. Question is, do we bury them or light them on fire?
Rowan, who is a grave cleric, I think understands cremation and a process. And interesting enough fact, cremation, the majority of cremation is not actually ash, it's actually pulverized bone.
It's weird that Vala doesn't know that.
Vala is an expertise on the process itself. After effects don't matter.
Right, that's just...
Charcoal briquette, yeah, okay, that's great. And then just water, like no one's like, she just hasn't stuck around for the after.
I saw the greatest meme.
Vala just has a tattoo that says, I set them on fire and let Celeste sort things out.
You could, like, Vala actually could be the meme. She set the room on fire, then she has the drink going, this is fine.
So it's it's entirely up to you. Again, with the fact that you guys have access to mold earth and stuff like that, if you wanted to just bury them again, probably take you more probably take you more in maybe 20 or 30 minutes.
I think that'd be the most respectful, as opposed to light, however you're intending to burn them. It would actually take, if you're wanting to burn to ash, first it's a pyre, that takes time, then you're burning, and then you would actually have to go through a process after the fact as well.
I would say, being a glaive cleric and having come from Meisenford, where a lot of people died very regularly, you would be very familiar with how to create a funeral pyre that could burn multiple bodies, but it is a process.
That would be several hours,
yeah,
minimum. So I think the most effective would be reburial.
Fair enough.
We get some better ingredients. I'll make you cinnamon rolls next time.
Okay.
Argenta's just going to start picking up the bodies and dropping them in and then molding earth, and that's the process.
Rowan will actually go through a process like, he understands that these are constructs now, but they were once people. He will pay respects to the entities that, though they once were represented, in hopes that they will be at peace when we have completed our tasks.
Vala will take Liliane over to the side and start teaching her how to play a little bit of like funeral music, funeral
Funereal.
funereal music. Yes.
A good dirge never hurt anyone. Sturges, on the other hand. So yeah, you guys have very little problem putting them back to where they were. The again, the ground itself is still very, very fertile. It doesn't seem like even killing these things doesn't seem to have defiled or defaced the ground in any or the soil in any way, shape, or form. And then yeah, you guys can walk over to the nearest noble's house, which is you can see it from where you are because the nobility is able to live a little bit further apart. It takes you maybe 5 to 10 minutes to get there. And when you arrive, this particular house has a pretty decent sized wall all around it, and a rather elaborate brass gate that you think at one point probably looked really, really impressive. But what you can see now is the brass itself is pitted, and there's places where oxidation has happened, and the hinges and things like that are starting to kind of like the screws are starting to come out of the wall and things like that. So what would you all like to do?
Oh, shall we go up?
Yeah.
Let's go see if anybody's home.
So as you try the gate is locked. However, the lock has seen better days. You think with a decent application of force you could probably break it, unless you have another route you'd like to take.
Is oil and a lockpick at all an option?
Absolutely.
Oh, like Roland was actually asking.
Oh,
Because I think someone has lockpicking skills.
Yeah, Lillian.
Oh.
Lillian is more than happy to do it silently. If you guys would like her to do that.
Sure.
Okay. So Lillian wanders up and just kind of takes her
Maybe
lockpicks out.
apply some oil first. It seems like this place is falling into a little bit of disrepair.
Okay. So you kind of lubricate the lock and the hinges and things, and you see it seems like no sooner than Lillian had inserted her lockpicks into the gate than you hear the click, and the gate slowly starts to swing open, and it would have squeaked, but you oiled the hinges. So now you don't get a sound effect. And you see just the weight of the gate itself, because of how it's kind of mishung now, the weight of the gate causes it to slowly open to the kind of front lawn of this rather impressive dwelling. You can see, now that you can kind of wander in, you can see that there's various topiary throughout this kind of front garden place. All of it is overgrown pretty extensively to the point where it's hard it's hard to identify what the topiary used to be.
Now you say it's overgrown. Now, does it look healthy, or is it
Very
look
healthy.
like so it looks healthy here?
Yep.
But I know some of the surrounding area has like after you get like 2000, the land was rich after a certain point, but then I remembered as we got like the town was like
Yeah, to be perfectly honest,
produce and shrubbery was kind of sickly looking.
In Crucitalia in general, farming is not a huge thing because the soil throughout the entire land is just not great. Plants tend to grow sickly in general, even in places like the webwood or the wood wall, where there's lots of growth and relatively healthy things. They all look sickly, even if they are very healthy. These plants, in and of themselves, color-wise, they look kind of dull, but the growths themselves look healthy and strong, and very much wild.
Interesting.
As you all continue through, it takes a while to notice, but you do notice kind of a sickly sweet scent in the air. That as you, if any of you kind of venture off the kind of main path, you notice that it gets stronger the further away from the main path that you get. Does it
It's like a compost smell.
Not quite. It doesn't have that kind of musty, earthy smell that you would normally get from compost, but it is, like I said, it's not just sweet. It's kind of sickly sweet to the point where you can almost taste it in like the back of your throat. That kind of very very like sugary, almost like a burnt sugar smell. Or not really a burnt, but like caramelized sugar. What would you like to do? You can continue going. You can go and try and investigate what the smell is. You continue going up to the mansion. What do you want to do?
I'm sure you should inspect it a little bit. I'm kind of concerned about what we might be walking into.
A little bit of caution is probably advisable.
Are there any like animals in there, Jody?
Go ahead and make me a perception check.
28.
So looking around, you notice the telltale signs of animals. You see a few leaves or a few branches of the topiary that have been stripped of leaves. Obviously by some herbivorous creature. Every so often you will see small droppings, mostly looking like possibly like rabbits and the like. Though with where the leaves are, the areas that the leaves have been chewed off, you would assume there's probably something kind of deer-like or something around that size that's also been through here. You just haven't seen any other indications of those. But when you look around for anything that could make those, nothing. There's not a single animal that you can see. So you can see signs that there should be animals here, but no animals.
Gotcha. That's weird. I mean, there's signs of animals, but there's no animals, and that's strange.
But we're still following the sickly sweet smell, yes?
If that's what you guys want to do, you definitely can. So as you guys,
Where is it? Where does the area seem to be coming? Is it like behind some
it's actually
bushes?
it's literally when you're on the path, you can barely smell it. If you wander even just a couple feet off of the kind of main path, it becomes much stronger very quickly.
Okay.
And it's both sides.
Does it seem to come from a source?
It seems to come from effectively two different sources, because there's one on the right side of the path and one on the left side of the path. But it's definitely the further away from the path you get, the stronger the smell becomes. What would y'all like to do?
Oh, investigate the smell. I'll go to the left.
Okay. So as you keep going, the topiary in and of itself kind of starts to form a little bit of a maze. Nothing nothing complex enough that you have any fear of getting lost. But it does force you to kind of make turns and things like that you normally wouldn't. And again, the further away from the path you go, the stronger the smell gets. And it soon gets to the point where it's gone away from just kind of a sickly sweet smell to the point that it is so strong that your molars are starting to hurt.
Like eyes watering?
Kind of. It's you can at this point you're almost tasting, like you actually are tasting something sweet in your mouth, because the air is just so full of this scent that even just inhaling is getting enough of it for you to taste something sweet.
I don't know if the rest of the group followed or not, but I think Rowan's gonna be like, he'll probably at some point take a robe and cover his mouth of like, this is, I don't know what's going on here, but this is beyond the pale.
I think Vala would like be keeping her eye, like an eye on him, but keeping a distance back.
Okay.
Argento would be following.
Okay. So eventually, Relwyn, you come around a corner of some very overgrown hedges, and you come to a clearing. And the clearing itself is covered in vines all along the ground. But in the center of the clearing is this beautiful red flower that the petals themselves and the bloomage is easily the size of your head plus an extra 6 inches. Like, these are massive, massive flowers, and there's probably about half a dozen of them on this very large bush. And you can see the center of the flower seems to be dripping almost a nectar out of it. And you can see there's a little pool of it near the bottom of the plant, and it's obvious that that's where the sweet scent is coming. And the red color is so kind of bright and vibrant, it almost seems like it's glowing.
This quote-unquote nectar, incredibly sickly sweet smell come around here, and yet, I think after Rowan noticed Argenta looking for signs, any bugs, anything, flies, bees, anything around these flowers? Rowan's would be like, oh, that's no. That's not right. Again, I have to imagine he's covering his mouth at this point as well. He's covering mouth and nose.
How far away are we from them?
The center of the clearing is about 20 feet. So if you're next to Relwyn, you're about 20 feet away from it.
Now, is the ground covered in vines?
Not completely obscured, covered, but there are vines everywhere.
Okay.
Okay, so they're like 20 feet from me, you said?
Yep.
Argento will, she just kind of waves her hand and says a few words as she'll cast Speak with Plants.
Okay. What do you want to try to speak with?
Technically, all of the plants within 30 feet of me can start to talk.
Okay. Surprisingly enough, the plants are not particularly talkative unless you engage them first.
Yeah. So I'll say to the flowers, what are you? Particularly the dripping one.
Okay. The spell doesn't affect them.
I look at Rowan. Or I'll go to the vines and I'll be like, do you talk?
The spell doesn't affect them either.
The grass under my feet.
The grass goes, what, where, what, why, what, ha, whoop,
the hedges behind me, I'll be like, "Do you talk?"
I bet if you talk to a shrubbery, it says knee.
The hedges behind you go piss off.
Okay, so the hedges and the grass, Rowan, are plants, but the vines and the flowers are not plants.
A flower that's glowing, like okay.
I'm able to talk with everything but those two.
I guess it's just more encouragement that I don't want to mess with any of those things over there. Especially considering the fact there's like literally there should be some signs of. I am not a naturalist by any stretch. I know herbs and I know how herbalism works, but I still have the basic understanding. Plant life, especially flowers, should have something about them.
Well,
Nothing. No animals attracted to this.
I there were animal droppings and eaten leaves out
Over
in the
there,
first, yeah, out
There
over
were.
there, but no animals. And then there's this thing. Should we tell Vala to do what Vala does best?
I think we might want to save our resources for what may happen. Like, we came here to inquire with the noble on the off chance that this isn't going to be some horrible monster. Maybe we don't destroy property on a whim.
That's fair.
Let's be justified before we destroy property.
Perhaps on the way out. And she can do it analog. She doesn't always have to use magic.
I have cantrips. Fiery cantrips.
We have perfectly good arson at home.
So, as you all turn around and walk back to the path, as you walk the path for maybe a few seconds, you notice something kind of interesting. If you've ever been in a really kind of stuffy room where the air is just not good, and then you go out in the open, and it's not really lightheaded, but your entire body feels lighter as you actually start getting enough oxygen to make everything work. Now that you guys are walking on the path, you definitely can feel that for a while you were lacking oxygen.
Shouldn't that be the opposite? Realms are like rich, lush, verdant plant life.
Well, again,
Doesn't
the other two weren't plants.
doesn't decaying organic matter give off carbon dioxide?
Amongst other things.
Like
Nitrogen's a
Are
big one too.
something
you
something
saying,
happened to all the animals around here. I think we know what happened to them.
Rowan 100% has been wondering if he's been smelling rotten meat.
are you saying that okay, so I have speak with animals
Mm-hmm.
access to it. I have speak with plants, I have access to it. Why has no druid or ranger concocted the spell speak with fungi yet?
I mean, fungi are. I mean, they're not technically part of the plant
Or animal kingdom. They're their
kingdom,
own
but
thing.
It's
I would
speak
call
with
it. They're
monks.
more plant-like than animals. If you wanted to talk to a mushroom, I'd let you use speak with plants.
Okay.
It's speak with monstrosities that we need.
And if you wanted to speak to, if you could find, uh, like protozoa that you wanted to speak to, I would be okay with you using speak with animal, despite the fact that they're not part of the animal kingdom.
I would ask, like, would a plant lie to you if you were asking if it's poisonous or not?
I mean, it's a good question.
Or she'd be like, no, no, totally, I'm safe, yeah. Yeah, give me a nibble. I fucking dare you.
To be perfectly honest, most plants develop poison to prevent predators from eating them. So
Yeah.
I would assume that they would have no problem going, no, I'm incredibly poisoned. There are, I don't know
We
about
just had
any
a shrub
plants
tell us
that
to
do
piss
this.
off.
Well,
We just
that's
had a shrub tell us
because
to piss off.
shrubs are very standoffish, or hedges are very standoffish, and I think that's hilarious. Because they stand up, and they're very.
It's a good one.
You know, if you can't have fun as a DM, really, what are you doing? So as you guys continue down the path, the sweet smell doesn't technically go away for a little bit. But as you finally get to the very large double doors in front of this mansion, the smell itself is weak enough that you don't really recognize it. Next to the door, there is a very large cord that looks to probably be attached to a bell of some sort to announce visitors. And the mansion itself does actually have like a porch that wraps around, and it turns a corner and you can't see where it goes. But what would y'all like to do?
I mean, I'll take a peek to see where it goes around the corner just to be
Okay.
sure.
So as you kind of go around, you can see that it looks like the porch seems to wrap around at least like half of the mansion. But surprisingly enough, you don't see additional doors. Generally, with a porch kind of this large and with how far it goes, you generally see a door every so often so that people can enjoy it from different parts of the house. But while you see quite a few different windows, you don't see a single door that empties out into the porch other than the front door.
Hmm.
I know this is an unusual scenario. Should we actually try knocking or announcing ourselves?
I suppose. I mean, we just ring this.
Okay. As you pull the rope, you feel tension for a brief moment, and then you feel no resistance whatsoever, and the rope starts to fall and kind of pile on your arm and starts piling on the floor as it's just a lot of rope is coming out. And then suddenly the very end of it comes down and you can see it frayed. Argenta, you would recognize teeth marks on it. Very small rodent teeth marks.
It got chewed through by rats.
Again, signs of animals we don't see.
Give me a moment. I'm wondering if anybody is home.
Rowan's just gonna knock. If he's just like he's just gonna raise his hand to like.
While he
No one stops him. He's just gonna.
Okay. As your hand impacts the door, you're not able to get a good knock because the door immediately moves, providing almost no resistance. Looking at it a little bit, you realize that the door itself is weighted in such a way, and it's hung in such a way that the door is almost weightless. It provides no, and it's actually counterweighted so that it provides almost no resistance.
Does it swing back or does it only open?
It doesn't, after the kind of motion that you added to it by trying to knock kind of ends, it doesn't swing back towards you. But again, you just barely kind of knocked on it, so you didn't give it a whole lot of force.
Vala is going to cast Detect Thoughts at second level.
Okay. How far?
30 feet.
30 feet. Okay. So, kind of looking around, just kind of glancing at Relwyn, you can Do you have to pick a target for detect thoughts, or it's just anyone?
So for the duration, you can read the thoughts of certain creatures, and you cast a spell as an action on each turn until the spell ends. You can focus your mind on any one creature that you can see within 30 feet.
Okay.
Um,
So
Got
as
to
you
see 'em.
so as you cast the spell, you can definitely sense Relwyn has thoughts that if you wanted to focus on them, you could. And Argenta and Liliane, I don't think none of you guys have a ring of mind shielding, right? That's only
it's just following.
It's
That's Paula.
okay. So yeah, you can sense your three friends and attempt to read the thoughts, but you don't see any other viable targets. You don't sense any other viable targets.
Second paragraph from the end. You can also use this spell to detect the presence of thinking creatures you cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
When you cast the spell or as an action on your turn, you can search for thoughts within 30 feet of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like trying to keep
so
them
as far as you can tell, the only three thinking creatures near you are Relwyn, Argenta, and Liliane.
Okay. As I'm not sensing thoughts from anybody.
Well, we are only at the entrance.
Vala will begin carefully entering into the house, looking around, and sensing for any thoughts.
Okay. As you open the door, again, it swings eerily easily. If you've ever pushed against something that offers literally zero resistance, it is an unsettling feeling. Because you feel like you should be able to put force into it, and it just simply doesn't allow it. You also notice that, unlike the gate that you guys had to oil to get it to not squeak or anything, this door doesn't make any sound at all. As you look into the grand foyer, it is... At one point, this was probably a very impressive house. You can see stains on the wall where large pictures used to be put up. You can see areas where you would assume, having lived in a place similar to this, you would assume very fine tapestries were hung there, and you can see that other than the dust that is on the very large staircase in here, the wood itself is gorgeous. And it seems to be all the railing and everything is hand carved. It is very intricate details in all of the kind of posts going up there. Like this is were everything here that should be, this would have put your former residence to shame. But it seems everything of value that could be taken has been taken. And you don't see the kind of familiar signs of a ransacking or anything. As far as you can tell, it seems like somebody moved out of here.
On the off chance, Relwyn's like, we're not trying to sneak. FYI, since we are in the house, is it well lit? Is it?
There's currently no lighting in there, but there are two very large, or technically two pairs of very large windows that open to the front, and there's also a skylight in this room. So there's currently a decent amount of natural light because it is still kind of mid-afternoon.
Okay.
But there's no like there are sconces on the walls and things like that have no candles in them.
Okay. I was just wondering if it was dark and people needed light.
If you go to a place without windows here, it will be dark.
Relwyn will just like, well, we're not trying to be sneaky. I didn't think. So we'll just
The gate needs a new lock and it needs to be reweighted, but the doors are completely fine. Needs a new wallpaper. It's a fixer-upper.
Rowan just hears it goes, "Hello."
Hello, 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 hello. No answer.
Figured on at least on the out chance there may be squatters.
I gotta look up. Vala, does detect thoughts? It lasts for a minute.
Lasts for a minute.
Cool. I would say yeah. By this point, it'd be gone. I would say, what's your passive perception, Argenta?
My passive perception,
Mm-hmm.
18.
Yeah, you would hear skittering sounds, very very faint. But again, with your background and history as a ranger, I mean, you'd recognize the sound of mice going in places that you can't see and wandering around.
I'm sure I heard that shit.
It's really faint. Oh wait, what's your passive perception is probably higher than that, right?
24.
Oh yeah, no, you heard that definitely, yeah. No, because even in churches they have mice problems. That you'd recognize the sound of mice. I mean, church mice are a thing.
We also literally you saw the rope that was not.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's obviously some vermin in the house. Though it seems like none of them are in this room. Like what you guys are hearing is stuff from the floor above. And these are big, like 20-foot vaulted ceilings in this room. So
While they're searching around, Argenta's going to communicate with her totem spirit, the wolf,
okay,
and cast Speak with Animals as a ritual.
sure. So looking around again, you don't see any animals with which to speak. Again, the closest you've heard is if you want to go upstairs, you can try and see if you can find some
Oh yeah,
roads.
it was to prepare for going up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Or, I was going to say, or the kitchen.
So where do you guys want to go?
I mean, we're hearing the sounds from above us, Rowan. So why don't we head up, see what what the mice are doing?
Okay.
So as you guys go up the stairs, again, the stairs themselves, with the dust and everything, you would expect them to kind of whine under your weight. Extremely common for stairs. They don't. These are very, very well constructed stairs. There's no give to them. The only sound that you guys hear is the sound of your footprints on the kind of solid wood. As you get up to the top, there's effectively a balcony that goes around. And you can see when you get up to this point, there's another set of stairs that goes to kind of a third floor, which would get you to the area above where you are. Or on the second floor here, there's about 6 doors, 2 on each side, and then there's also 2 on the top part that obviously lead to other rooms. Where did you guys want to go?
Are we all? I'm presuming we're all together still.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Rowan just kind of looks at everyone, just. Shall we pick a door? Do we think this is the type of place that will be trapped?
I mean,
Oh, it just
I-
feels
I-
abandoned.
yeah, I don't feel someone would trap their own home after abandoning it, especially if they took everything. So, she'll just go to the first door and open it if it's openable.
Yeah. Left or right?
Right.
So as you kind of wander over and you try the doorknob on the right, it opens relatively easily, and you find yourself in a hallway that you think at one point probably had a very nice rug, because again you can kind of see the light stains where the light never reached to where the rug was. But again, the floor themselves are bare. As you kind of look down, you can see the hallway continues. There's about, on the far side of the hallway from where you could come in, there's 4 doors pretty evenly spaced off that seem to keep going. And at the end of the hallway, you can see a set of large double doors. And then on the closest side of the hallway, you don't see any doors for a little bit, and then towards the end, there's a single door. What would you like to do?
Anyway,
Are you still there, Argenta?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
Just
He's-
contemplating.
yeah. All the doors are at the end of this hallway.
On the far side, like when you open the door on the wall that's you're looking at effectively, there's roughly 4 doors, kind of evenly spaced. On the same side of the hallway that you enter from, there's only 1 door, and it's at the very end of the hallway before the set of double doors.
All right, I'll open that door.
Okay, the single door or the double doors?
The single one.
Okay, so as you go all the way down the hallway, you do hear again a little bit of scuttering above you, and then as you open the door, you suddenly hear the sound of flapping wings as a bird just kind of blows through the door and starts kind of trying to fly out of the hallway. You can see it start flying up, and it finds a kind of crack near the top, near where the ceiling meets the wall, and you see the bird just kind of go into that little crack and disappear.
Wait, no. Ah.
Did it look like that bird was attracted to come in here?
I look into the room to see what was in there.
The room looks kind of like a storage room, and this is the first room that you've actually found actual items in. There are cobwebs all over it. It has a really strong, musty smell to it, which is also another thing that's kind of strange about the houses. The house in itself, the air is very, very dry. It doesn't really have much of a scent to it. But as soon as you open this room, very kind of musty, dusty smell. You have to kind of fight off a cough when you first open it. And in the room itself, you can see a large barrel in there that has a bunch of random things like some rope and some other things kind of hanging off of it. There are a few shelves in here that have various kind of boxes and other kind of various accoutrements. None of it seems particularly valuable or anything like that, but there's obviously something in here. And then you do find a nest that has been made of various bits of paper as opposed to straw or anything like that. But there's nothing in the nest.
It said there had to be something in the room.
Sorry, what did you ask?
Is the barrel or anything open? Or
The barrel, as far as you can tell, the barrel seems sealed. The kind of boxes and other things that you've seen in here don't appear to be open.
He'll just take a peek at everything.
Okay. For the most part, if you open any of the boxes, you find things like um, waterlogged parchment that doesn't have anything on it. It's just kind of spare parchment for writing notes and things like that. You find one has a box. One of there's a box of inkwells that the ink seems to be mostly dried in them. If you go into the barrel itself is nailed shut. So if you want to open it, you'll need some sort of pry bar or something to actually open it.
I have a crowbar.
Okay.
So getting the lid off of the barrel, not particularly hard. And as you open it up, you guys look in and are immediately have to kind of hold your nose. As you can see, the bottom is kind of full of rat droppings. And you can smell the very, very old scent of molded grain.
Okay.
I would imagine a very heavy ammonia smell, probably too.
Yep.
All right.
Oh,
Back out of that room. Close the door. I guess I'll open the double doors.
Okay. As you open the double doors, you come into what you have to assume was a bedroom. However, where the bed should be, there is nothing. Which, that in and of itself, especially to you, Vala, seems strange because, well, yes, if you were moving to another place, you would obviously take all of your valuables, but like the room itself obviously was meant to hold like a big kind of 4-post monster of a bed. And those are generally kind of built into the structure. Moving those is remarkably time consuming. It's not fun and generally isn't worth the effort. If you've got the money, you buy a place and you can get a new bed in it. But yeah, looking around, you can see there is a vanity that's actually built into a wall. But the mirror that should be there is not there. You can see there's actually a wash basin that's, again, built into the vanity as well. It looks to be made of copper. But everything else about the vanity isn't there. You don't see, normally in front of a vanity there'd be some sort of like stool or something so you can kind of sit at if you need to. Nothing. And you look around the rest of the room, there's a large window that you can see where the curtain rods would hang and where the curtains would normally be. Nothing there, just kind of bare. You can see there's a room there's a door that's partially open that you can see probably leads to kind of a washroom. But there's no furniture, there's no wall hangings. The only things that are still in here are the things that are physically attached to the room. And you're normally in something like this, like copper is valuable. If someone had come in to ransack the place, they 100% would have chopped up that vanity and taken an actual copper wash basin. That's a lot of money.
If a house that had been looted, there'd be a lot more broken things.
Mm-hmm.
Everything would be taken. This was somebody who was very thorough in moving out.
Mm-hmm.
Furniture, portraits, things that have possibly sentimental value, but meanwhile left other things that other people clearly would have taken. Vala,
Yes.
I feel this might be something where you might be aware of. Is it true that it was common for nobles to have? It was commonplace for nobles to have secret entrances built into homes like this.
I know I did. I would imagine there would be a escape route. I'm not sure where it would be, but
If you guys like to make an investigation check, you can see if you can find any false walls or anything.
17.
Okay. Anyone else want to make a roll?
But investigation's not great.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth a try. Just Rowan's generally, of course, that's what happens. Yeah, Rowan doesn't find anything. He's just tapping walls and.
So, Argenta and Rowan are kind of just looking around, and they'll poke walls every so often. Val, I actually go ahead and roll again. I'll give you advantage on this because, again, you have more experience with this. Apparently, Bach was real popular here too.
Dirty 20.
Not bad at all. For anyone wondering, I don't know if you guys can hear it in the music, but someone's playing Toccata and Fugue in D minor.
Oh, I'm here. I was hearing organ music. That's why I thought it was
Yeah.
funny when you opened the door. That's when I heard organ music kick in.
We found the Phantom of the Manor.
Personally, not a huge fan of the toccata part of that, and that's the only thing that anyone ever knows. The fugue, however, is brilliant. It's one of my favorite pieces ever. So you start looking specifically for places that make the most sense to have a secret, and you keep coming up empty. And at first, it's just kind of like, okay, it makes sense. And then as you keep not finding things that you think you should, you start going, okay, well, maybe we're in a guest room. And they didn't want the guests to know, because guest rooms will still have... Maybe the guests won't be aware of it, but the master of the house would. You just keep going and going and going, and finally... out of frustration, you just kind of walk away from the wall and you feel the ground underneath you dip ever so slightly as you step into where the bed would have been. And you realize that the bed itself is on some sort of listing platform that is designed to basically tilt up.
I will begin looking around for the mechanism to unlock it.
Okay. Go ahead and make me another investigation check with advantage.
Okay. $18.
18. So looking around, you can't see anything underneath the walls or anything that would indicate how this works. You start to get the idea that perhaps the mechanism that activates it is not in this room. And you
All right.
do notice, as you're kind of looking around, in one of the places where a portrait would have hung, you do notice almost imperceptible seams that are for two small eye-shaped holes.
I will let everybody know. I think I'm having a bad thought about this place. There's a bed that is remotely triggered to flip over. There's a portrait with eyes.
I was watching you investigate, and yeah, this place is getting creeps now.
Yes. You look tired. Go sleep in the bag.
Yes, sleep. Very good for you. Yes.
So they were perverts,
Potentially.
or
This may not be an escape room. Quite the opposite.
should there be a way? I mean, I understand the whole thing you just found, but shouldn't there be an a access from this end as well?
Not if this
For
was
the
meant
bed?
as a, not if this was meant as a trap, but
Oh,
you should if
but traps
that
need to
is
be
a
reset.
yes, but that may be in that wall. We need to find how to get into the wall.
So there are two holes there, Jody.
Mm-hmm.
Two small eye holes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Um,
Argenta's gonna go to that wall.
Okay.
I'm going ghost. I cast etherealness.
Okay. So you guys watch as Argenta just kind of walks over, and you notice that Argenta's walking with purpose. And walks right up to the wall and doesn't seem to be stopping. And then suddenly Argenta becomes slightly translucent and just continues walking. The
The
first
men who stare at goats, she becomes a Jedi.
she
right into the wall.
the first thing that you notice, Argenta, is as soon as you kind of walk into the wall, you realize that your legs have actually effectively been cut off at about the mid thigh, because the room behind this is a little bit higher. So you have to kind of focus yourself to kind of make yourself raise to the proper
Yeah.
height.
I'll do that.
And then the room that you're in is a little bit claustrophobic. It's very, very tight quarters. You can see a set of stairs leading upstairs, very kind of tight, claustrophobic stairs that seem to kind of wind their way up to what you assume is the third floor.
Okay, so this room is accessed from the third floor.
Yes.
Okay, once she has that mentally checked,
Mm-hmm.
because this type of etherealness only lasts a round,
Mhm.
she'll. I'm just gonna dash so that I can peer under the bed mechanism to get an idea of how far that goes down.
Absolutely. As you look down, you see a room and a table that's built into the floor here, and you can see there's still a few meat hooks kind of hung on the wall that are kind of attached to it. But you would assume when this place was in use, there was probably a lot more. It looks like a dry aging kind of curing and butchering room. If you had to take a guess, you think that probably the kitchen is not far off from this room.
Then, with the last of her movement, she'll float back up, so she only plops down a few inches when the spell ends.
Okay. So you guys watch as Argenta kind of walks through the wall. You wait for less than a second. You watch her walk out of the wall higher up than when she went in. And she immediately kind of comes out, dashes over, and just kind of sticks her head into the floor. And you watch her slowly start sinking into the floor for, again, just a second or two, and then she suddenly kind of pops, raises up, pops back out, and she suddenly becomes no longer translucent and just plops onto the floor.
That room is very small. You have to kind of be thin or walk sideways.
Oh, and there was a lever mechanism in there too.
Oh, okay. And it's where the mechanism is to pull this trap. It's accessed from the third floor. Below me, butchering and meat storage. There's meat hooks.
we could walk up to the third floor. Or, what's this wall seem to be made out of?
I mean, wood.
Does anybody have a axe? A hammer?
Rowan holds up his mace, but I'm just like,
I mean, I have a hand axe, but it's not really like a wood cutting axe.
Vala just goes up to the wall with crowbar and starts trying to find an edge.
Go ahead and make me an athletics check with disadvantage.
What if Vala rages?
I took a
11.
level of barbarian.
Just to point out, there are other rooms, and we know what to look for now, irrespective if other rooms have some other disturbing setup.
No. I'm trying to find a quick way to get to the behind-the-scenes nature of this house, rather than looking for another hidden entrance. But if this fails, we can continue investigating. So sorry, I got an 11.
11. So, as you kind of start trying to find a way, the wall itself is completely solid. It looks like, other than the two high holes, this wall is not meant to open or anything. You think just with your crowbar, if you take about 20 minutes, you can most definitely make a door.
All right, we'll try looking around on the third floor then. We'll try it your way.
So, do you guys want to go back to the stairwell and go up to the third floor? Do you want to check any of the other doors on the other side of the hallway? What do you want to do?
I mean, we might as well swing open those 4 doors, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So each one of the doors has a similar features. They all have a place where a bed should have been. Nothing nearly as elaborate as what was there, but Vala, you would be familiar with kind of a master guest room and then quarters for any and all servants that come with them.
These are for the help. Not that they would have done much good.
I will say, since you guys know what to look for, you guys don't find any trapdoors or anything in these rooms, but you do find that the doors lock from the outside.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Alright. To the 3rd floor then?
Yep.
So going up to the third floor, probably the first thing that pops out to all of you, Vala specifically, is when you come up, there is a large arboretum that has this lovely set of French doors right at the top, and you can see it's mostly overgrown, but you can see it's got effectively like a greenhouse, and it's probably was very, very lovely when it was kept. And then to the right, which would be over the rooms that you just saw, there's a very plain, almost imperceptible door that you recognize as a servant door. A lot of times when you get to the servant wing, it's actually, they don't make them painfully obvious. A lot of the doors just kind of fade in, or there'll be doors kind of like in the Oval Office that look like walls but have a handle on them or something. And so it seems all the area on top of that was all servants' quarters. Which is another thing that's kind of slightly odd. Generally, servants' quarters are either on the main floor, or a lot of times they're below ground, so that they can have their own special exits. Like they can have subterranean exits and entrance, so that they don't have to interact with the nobility. And things like that. So having your servants' quarter on the third floor is a very strange choice. And then to the left, you can see significantly more kind of elaborate quarters and other things like that are obviously for either for more important guests or more likely the people that actually lived here.
Right. I kind of want to look at these, the servants' quarters here.
Okay.
Seems unusual that they're on this floor. Oh yeah, Vala will head over there and start looking around.
So opening up, you see a relatively familiar sight. Servants' quarters are bare and cheap. The walls themselves are not wallpapered or anything like that. They're just kind of wood. Kind of peeking into any of the rooms. They're very, very basic rooms. You notice that none of the furniture in here has been taken. So you can still see some beds, most of them still made. And as you kind of keep going down, you start seeing larger and larger servants' quarters. And you finally, at the end, you would assume this is probably like a maitre d' or what are they called? Master of the house?
Major Domo.
Major Domo, there we go. I named a character here that couldn't remember what it's called. Obviously, the Major Domo's room, and that door is not only locked, but just kind of briefly looking at the lock, this is a very nice lock.
Lillian, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. I normally don't roll for players since I don't have her character sheet in front of me, but I can look at it real quick.
Guidance.
Do I even have any? I can't even bardically inspire anyone anymore.
So sad. This is Legend of Three Kingdoms. That's what it's called.
You need an hour. No.
Alright, so sleight of hand. Or it's not sleight of hand, it's actually
Lockpicking. These tools.
these tools. There we go. Dex is... Oh, it's only +1. Yeah. Still a +7. So... and then you said guidance too?
Yeah, D4.
You can see Lillian's there. 30 seconds pass. Nothing. Couple minutes pass. Nothing. You can hear the sound of the rake going against the various tumblers in there, but there's no click. After about 10 minutes, she kind of just pulls out her lockpicks and looks absolutely perplexed.
Silly question.
Mm-hmm.
We just knocked on the door to the place that just came in and it wasn't locked. Relman just kind of like jiggles the handle.
Oh, it's locked.
Okay. It's like,
Thus far, like, everywhere you've gone in this house, nothing has been locked.
Yeah.
So this is the first door you guys have found that's actually locked.
Argenta will knock on it.
Make me perception check. With disadvantage.
This is +8, so 19.
19. As you knock on the door, nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing that you can tell.
All right. I mean, Argenta just kind of looks at you all. She shrugs. Do we want in this room?
Oh, I think we definitely want to get into this room.
All right, Jenny, this is where I ask, how flush to the walls is this door?
I guess, what are you trying to find out?
Can I get like a good grip on the door?
No. This is
No.
this is an extremely well-crafted door. It's hung perfectly. And is heavy-duty wood.
Heavy duty.
And Vala, you would, even for a major domo, this is overkill. Um, you could imagine a door like this being for like the primary residence of the master of the house or something like that. But for a servant, like this is a door that probably cost more than all of the furniture in this wing of the house.
Yeah, something is not right here.
How do the hinges look?
The hinges are not on this side of the door; they're on the other side.
Gotcha. Is this like an old school keyhole where they're kind of big, or is it?
No, this is a relatively incredibly sophisticated lock,
Okay.
beyond Lillian's ability to pick.
Maybe not even trying to break it down. I don't know what else to do.
Why don't we try breaking it down?
All right. I mean, I'm gonna try and kick the door down, Jetty.
Okay.
Wait,
Gonna need
before
Go ahead.
you do that,
Yeah.
I will pull out my wand of magic detection,
Okay.
and I will, crack the glow stick,
Okay.
point it at the door, see if there's any magic protecting the door.
As far as you can tell, there's not even really ambient magic in the air.
Okay. Okay. Proceed.
All right, I'll try and break the door down, Jetty.
Okay.
Good guidance, Brigo.
Athletics check, please.
Yes. About rage for the advantage. Why not? Well, this is what I like to call because I raged. This is my max possible roll with a guidance because I rolled a nat 20 and a 4.
Okay. What's the grand total?
Let me just make sure this is correct. Yeah, 39.
You missed. No. How do you envision Argenta breaking this door down? Are you just like piston kicking it? Are you going to shoulder charge it? How do you see yourself breaking the door down?
It's sort of like, so she backs up to the back of the hallway, and
Okay.
it's like that hot step. You see her rage for that second,
Mhm.
so everything flexes, and then just a massive push kick to a part of the door to break it in.
Okay. So you guys watch as Argenta takes a step back. You see this click, click. She cracks her neck. You can see her muscles bulge, and you watch as her eyes kind of glow with an inner fire. She steps forward, lifts her legs Sparta kick style, and you watch as it impacts the door with so much force that you guys are actually thrown back slightly. Like you feel the breeze from this kick. And as she kicks the door, the first thing that you notice, Argenta, is a popping sensation in your knee. As you impact this door, and this door is not meant to open. It feels like you are kicking a brick wall. But there's so much force behind it that you push through the pain, and you guys watch as the door cracks and basically collapses in the center of this door as Argenta's foot goes clean through the door, and the rest of the door there is still mostly intact. The closer you get to where her foot hit it, the more you see cracks and things kind of moving in. But she didn't actually break the door down. There is just a very large Argenta's foot-sized hole in the middle of the door and a lot of radial cracking from that. And then you guys hear the sound of metal grinding on metal. And I need everyone but Argenta, who is now attached to the door, to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no.
Harry.
What do we got?
10.
Okay,
26.
cool. So you guys watch as the floor beneath you drops and effectively becomes a slide that goes directly down, and you both see two very large meat hooks at the end. And as you are falling through, Rowan, you're so surprised from this that you don't even have a whole lot of time to react. So you take 9 points of piercing damage as the meat hook stops your fall and pierces your shoulder. Vala, as you are starting to kind of fall down this, you see the meat hook coming, realize that there's nothing on the wall that's going to slow your descent, and so you simply kind of reach out and grab the meat hook and kind of swing off of it to prevent it from impaling you. However, the meat hook itself is very, very sharp. So you take 3 points of slashing damage as it kind of cuts your hand a little bit, and you are now in this kind of dry aging room. Argenta, you feel the ground go out from beneath you, and you start to go down, and then your foot stops you, and you're kind of hanging, and you realize that the floor is going to come back up and collide and crush your head. So I need a dexterity saving throw from you. Or you could make a strength save. I'll let you choose, dex or strength.
I'm going to default to strength because I'm just picturing her doing like a massive, like those full body sit-ups.
Yeah, the upside down ones where you hook yourself to a wall.
So that's 19.
19. So yeah, you watch as the floor is now coming up, and you being upside down, you can see the entire mechanism, basically almost the entire floor, because it looks like it also drops out the servants' quarters as well. All of them funnel down. So this is a massive, massive piece of wood that has just shifted down and is now coming up to smash your head. You immediately bring yourself back up, and you see it come up, and kind of like their drawers that they have this mechanism that as you try to shut them, they slow it down slightly so it doesn't slam. I think they're called like anti-slam drawers or something like that.
Oh, soft close, yeah.
Yeah, soft close. Same basic principle right before it gets to the point, because this would be at a very, very loud sound. Right before it gets to the point and well past where it would have destroyed your head, you see it just slowly, it just stopped very quickly, and then you watch it just very lightly come back and touch the walls again, and the room is as it was before.
She'll pull her foot free and just kind of lay on her back for a second before hopping up.
Okay.
And then she wiggles her knee and she's just like, I guess my weight popped it back into place.
Yeah. You think probably what happened is you probably didn't tear a tendon, but you probably strained a few tendons in your knee. And that was the popping sound was the tendons literally scraping against each other. So the knee is going to be sore for a few days.
Yeah, but looking down, she kind of figures where Relvin and Vala went.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have to find a way down there. But before she goes down there, I guess I'm just gonna look into the room that wasn't supposed to be viewable, but is now, to see what's through this door.
Sure. As you look in, you can see relatively modest room. It's got a bigger bed than the other rooms you guys have seen, but still relatively modest. The bed itself is made, and there's a little writing desk in the corner. And unlike all the other rooms in this entire house, the writing desk actually has some papers on it. It has a candle holder with a candle, and you can see just the faintest trail of smoke coming off of the candle itself. But unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for tonight. As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/JojoTrainer Jody. We've got one more episode of Legend of the Three Kingdoms before the kind of hiatus for Daily December. So we'll have to see what happens in a couple of weeks. Otherwise, again, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys in the next time. All right? Bye-bye.